Hey guys, it's Dr. Bickling from Own It Dental. Glad to be with you today. As you can tell by the title of this video, I have a little bit of a different take on new patients and their relative value to your practice. But before we get into that, I'd like to share a little anecdote with you, or a little analogy, if you will. I want you to imagine that you're single and you're on the dating marketplace, but you're in a committed relationship. And this person that you're dating is wonderful. They're awesome. They show up all the time. They never flake on you. And when they do show up, they bring value to your life. You know, maybe they help clean your house, or they help you with your professional, meeting your professional and personal goals. And they love you, and they show you by their actions that they care about you. Yet instead of you reciprocating, that love and that attention, you literally spend zero time, effort, and energy on this person. You spend no money on this person, and not only that, you spend hours a day on Bumble and Tinder and all these other dating apps, and you spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars every month on super swipes and super likes and boosting your profile and so on and so forth. If this was you, or if somebody you knew, you'd slap yourself upside the head, or slap somebody upside the head if they were acting this way. Well, the reality is that we dentists act like this every single day. We act like this with our existing patients, our patients who know us and like us and trust us. And every time they show up, they bring value to our practice. They're more likely to say yes to treatment because they know and they like us. But yet we spend almost no time, effort, and energy or money trying to keep our existing patients or make their lives easier. Conversely, we spend tens of thousands of dollars, thousands anyway, of dollars every month trying to get new patients. New patients who, like on Tinder or Bumble, tend to flake on you the most. They bring the least value to you. They have the lowest case acceptance rate, unless they're in pain. and in some instances, they catfish you. So in any case, there's just a little bit of an analogy between, a real life scenario and how, we treat, our existing patients versus our new patients. I know it's in our DNA to chase new patients. I was a dentist, or I am a dentist, but I've been a dentist for over 22 years. And I do understand that you need new patients to grow your practice, especially if you're a scratch office. I've started over 28 scratch offices in my career. And of course you need new patients when you're starting a scratch office. And I was an associate dentist for 14 years. So as an associate coming into a practice, of course you want more new patients. However, as the title of this video represents or states, new patients are relatively worthless to your patient. Relative to your existing patients and until they become returning patients. So let's get into it. As I said, I know that that you guys love your new patients. And how do I know? Because look, this is me giving a speech at a conference here, and look at this thing. And the thing is huge. Let me get out of the way. I mean, and the conference is like 3 times as large as this, and this conference is on how to get new patients. But if I ever give a speech on how to keep your existing patients, this is what it looks like, right? Like, I literally, when I'm talking to my clients about keeping their existing patients, their eyes roll to the back of their heads and they fall asleep, But let's just get into the data, and let's just see what the data says. Now, I started Own It Dental here back in about the middle of 2019, right? And when most clients come to me, they've come to me because they've plateaued. And you can see kind of like the 6 months leading up to that, they've kind of plateaued. And by the way, these are my average clients. I've got clients all across the United States, and I've taken all their data and averaged it together. So this is just an average of all of my clients. So most clients come to me, they've kind of plateaued. They've hit a ceiling and they can't grow. And Dr. Bickling, what do I do? So they get on board with me. We start growing, their hygiene a little bit. And then, of course, the pandemic comes and hygiene just gets shut down completely. And then we rebound, very quickly back to pre-pandemic levels. And then once we get on board with keeping our existing patients and making the conditions such that our existing patients can return, and we can add new patients to that, boom, look what happens. The numbers skyrocket. My average clients have grown their field hygiene an average of about 78% over their pre-pandemic levels. And I think you'd agree that that's pretty impressive. But if we look at the collections, you're going to see the collections follows almost a direct relationship. You know, again, 6 months prior to coming with me, they've plateaued. We start growing their field hygiene, and look what happens to their collections. It grows almost on a very direct relationship, almost a one-to-one direct relationship, and that's not hard to imagine, because the more patients you see in hygiene, the more dentistry you diagnose. The more dentistry you diagnose, the more you produce. The more you produce, the more you collect. So, we can kind of see that that's a direct relationship, and I don't think I'd get much argument there. However, if we look at the new patient data, this is my client's average new patients over that exact same time period. And you can see the new patients, not only are they not growing, they're on a downward trend. Now they might be growing here, but we'll get into that. But I want you to point out here, I want to point out this. Look, this is where the new patient numbers were the highest. But if we look, that's where collections was the lowest. So this proves, and I see this time and time again with all of my clients, your new patient numbers have little or nothing to do with your production and collections. They almost have no impact on it relative to your existing patients, relative to your field hygiene, or until they become part of your field hygiene. So the idea is to keep all of the patients that you have and then add those new patients to that number month after month after month. The reason why clients plateau, like right here and right here, is because what happens is they get to a point where they start losing their existing patients at the same rate or greater than they're gaining new patients. And so then their solution is, well, let's get more new patients. Let's market more. Let's spend more money and get more new patients. Let's go on Bumble. Let's go on Tinder. And what ends up happening is that they just keep squeezing out their existing patients. And those are the patients that actually bring value to your office. And here's the proof. So my take on it is a little different. It's instead of going after the new patients, make the conditions such that you can keep your existing patients and then just add the new patients to that. But we dentists, we have it all backwards. We're chasing new patients. We always think that new patients is the answer. And I can hear the butts coming now. But Dr. Bickling, we have record collections and record new patients. How do you explain that? And that might be true. Okay, I do have some clients that are having some record months with their collections and record months with their new patients. However, one, the data doesn't lie. Okay, across the board, on average, the data doesn't lie. By a balance of probabilities, the data doesn't lie. But I might pose this question. Is your practice's collections at record levels because you have new patients? Or are you having record new patients because you've created the conditions that your practice is at a record level? And what do I mean by that? So we've already explained that, collections and field hygiene it's pretty much a direct relationship. And I don't think I'm going to get much argument from that. Well, if I've created these conditions where I'm keeping my existing patients and growing my field hygiene, there's a certain percentage of these patients that are direct referrers. They refer new patients to you. So as this grows, you can expect that your new patients might grow as well. If it's 30% referral rate, as you grow this, that 30% becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger number. And so that's partly what's causing this growth right here. We just have to figure out what that point is. But again, we're creating the situation where we're keeping our patients because we know that has a direct impact on our production and collections. Now, getting back to this, you're going to notice there's a big spike right here. So let's get to that, because I know you guys you doctors, you're probably falling asleep right now. We're talking about keeping your existing patients. I know you love your new patients. So let's talk about new patients. What causes you to get more new patients. You know, a lot of you think it's marketing and all this other stuff and referrals and stuff like that, but I'm going to suggest it's something even different than that. And it's proven right here by this spike. Now remember, these are my average clients. All across the United States, my clients had this massive spike in new patients in October of 2020. And if you look at your office's data, you probably had a similar increase in new patients. And why did this happen? Did all my clients just all of a sudden start marketing more in October of 2020? Or did they all of a sudden just get all these referrals in October of 2020? No, that's not what happened. And I think you can guess what caused that. And it was this down here. This was 6 months prior to this. This was the shutdown. So, you know, in April of 2020, when the pandemic hit and all of our offices shut down, you didn't see any hygiene, all right? And so you had no hygiene patients come in. That means you didn't pre-appoint any hygiene for October, 6 months later. So when October rolls around, 6 months later, your hygiene books are wide open. Your books, there's nobody on the books. You don't have any production, you know. And so when new patients call, you've got all of this availability. You can get them right in. You can say yes to them. So what you need to understand is those new patients are calling you all the time. It's just that most of the time you're busy or you're full and you can't get those new patients in at convenient times. And when I say convenient, I mean convenient for them, not convenient for you, all right? So these patients are calling all the time. It just so happens that in October, you had lots of availability. So you could say, yeah, come on in, and they did. My point here is that your ability to get new patients is more of a reflection of your capacity to see them, your capacity to get them in at convenient times, usually evenings, weekends, or in short notice, short order, not make them wait. So if you want new patients, all you got to do is open up your books, you know, make room for them, hire more hygienists, hire more staff, you know, make places for them to come in. So in either case, whether it be getting new patients or keeping the patients that you have, it really comes down to creating more capacity, creating the ability to get your patients in at convenient times that are convenient for them. And by the way, that's how you keep your existing patients too. So it's really the same tactic for both. So anyway, this data just shows two things. One, your new patient numbers, because I know you love new patients, it's limited by your available capacity. That's it. It's limited by your ability to get patients in on a day and a time that's convenient for them. Because I promise you, they're calling you all the time. But when your schedule is booked and you can't get them in at a convenient time, they're going to go someplace else. And you know, the data from here just proves it. You know, and this is across the board. This is average. You know, so data just proves it. And secondly, new patients have little to no impact on your production or collections relative to your existing patients. Not until they become part of the existing patients. In other words, not until they become returning patients. Okay, so I hope you gained a new insight out of this, and maybe we stop spending so much time on Bumble and Tinder chasing those new patients, and maybe we spend a little bit more time creating an environment where it's easier for our existing patients to come back to get in and see us, because you'll definitely see a difference in the production and collections if we do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too much of a departure from the way you think about your new patients, but the numbers are what they are, and I'll see you on the next video. Talk to you soon.